Uncle Gold Clips.
Is the titles the only thing that YouTubers are doing wrong when they're starting new channels?
No, definitely not, unfortunately. Thumbnails as well. Like it's like everything on YouTube. There's multiple ways to do it. There's a million ways to make a good thumbnail, and it's hard to give completely generic advice that just covers everyone. But in general, small YouTubers use way too much text in their thumbnails. They use text that's too small. A lot of small YouTubers will be, and big YouTubers will be, making their thumbnails on Photoshop or on some sort of graphic design software on their computer, and they have it quite big and zoomed in, and then they don't really think that the end user is more than likely going to be viewing this on the phone. And they're not going to really, it's not only that they won't read the text, but it's also just small text doesn't grab your eye as much. It's like you can easily scroll by small text. If it's really big text, that's going to grab your eye more. And I like, especially with some of the clients I work with, I like having no text. I just like having clear visual representation of what's happening. Obviously, different channels need some text. Like, for example, my videos, I kind of need that extra text to give more context to the video and to give kind of an extra bit of clickbait in a way, to kind of make someone just say, wow, I need to click this. But for a lot of the channels I work on, like a lot of my clients, I just sort of say, let's try make this as minimum as possible, 1 to 3 words, but in many cases just 0, and just showing visual representation. And that's another thing. So I did a little channel review for someone that just DM'd me on Twitter the other day, and they had a video where it was like 57 tips for Uber drivers, how to become the best Uber driver, or something like that. Some title, something like that. And their title was just the guy sort of standing there on camera with the car beside him. And I was like, an infinitely better thumbnail for this would be if you were inside the car with a bag of food, driving the car, looking at the camera, something like that, to visually represent the video. Because like if you're just standing beside a car, like I don't know from looking at that thumbnail necessarily what the video is going to be. He did use the Uber Eats logo or something in there, so obviously there's a bit of foreshadowing over what the video is going to be. But that's a huge thing. Like people just don't seem to capitalize on that well enough, and they don't seem to realize that we need to visually show what's happening a lot of the time. And someone like, I always say Matt Diavella is a great example, because he uses really minimal thumbnails, but so many of his thumbnails are just showing the process of what's happening. So obviously if it's a it's a big announcement video, it might be just his head on the camera, but often it's like him writing in a journal, him in the middle of action, and then instead of like text, that's just showing you what's happening. So he could make that thumbnail of just like a headshot, say like me at the screen here, and then like text here, just saying like why I started journaling, and yeah, it might do okay. But if it's a video of him like visually like journaling and showing the representation of that process, it shows the viewer you're for real, and that the video is going to be dynamic, and it's not just going to be a boring head to the face camera for the whole video. So that's, thumbnails are another thing. Also brightness. So like in general, bright thumbnails get more clicks. There's lots of data to show that I've run, and I've heard other people run as well. So in general, brighter thumbnails catch the eye better, more vivid colors. Like you'll notice in my videos, I use quite high saturation on the on the channel, or on the thumbnails. If you look at the recent Airac one, I bumped up the saturation. I kind of made his eyes pop, so it's really like eye catching. And then there's the dark black, the dark red, the line going up, the white background. Lots of contrast and lots of saturation on human faces, and that's another thing. And also a huge pet peeve of mine is thumbnails that aren't zoomed in enough. So like a lot of the time, the subject material, whether it could be literally a pizza for a cooking channel, or it could be a person working out for a workout channel or a fitness channel, and it's too zoomed out. Whereas it's literally just so much better to punch that in more and just have the person in taking up more of the frame. So even, you might have even seen this in my channel, I've kind of changed that over the years, where my more recent thumbnails, I have just a really like punched in version of the headshot of the person. And then I have like my graph and stuff beside it. But like if you're everything's kind of zoomed out with a thumbnail, and you're like really far back, and like there could be text there, you're really far back. Whereas if you're like really close in, it makes a big difference to the audience, because they're just seeing eye contact right away, and they're seeing someone in their face in a way. And that's another big mistake.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see the full version, go to the Uncle Gold Podcast YouTube channel or watch the next clip.